time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do.
Yeah, I got the juice. Whip game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, XL, and Huber, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof.
You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go.
Yeah, I got the
Good afternoon and good evening if you're in East Africa. I am Steve, the Kidney Nurse. Welcome to another episode of Kidney Hub East Africa. Let me bring in my co-host. I always got to give him the special VIP welcome because he's coming live all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. And you know, a lot of times he has issues with the internet connection, but today we have him loud and clear. So without further ado, let me bring on the Kidney Ambassador. Brother Moses, good evening. How you doing?
I'm great, Brother Steve. How are you?
All right, all right. Hey, can you slide over a little bit to your right to get you on the camera?
To my right?
Yes.
This way?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. How's it going this evening?
It's quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I just spent my better day in church.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, we communicated when I was walking back home. How
Right.
about you, Steve?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking.
All right.
So let's get into the topic. You had dialysis yesterday, correct?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh. And over in Kenya, the
On Friday.
National Health Service only allows our brothers and sisters in Kenya to have 2 treatments per week. Is that correct? At 4 hours per session.
Very true. Very true. There is no option of the third one.
Well, if one was to pay for it out of their pocket, could they do a third treatment?
The package has 2 2 sessions in a week. Yes.
So if you wanted to do more than 2 sessions and you had the money to do it, you couldn't do it if the National Health Service is paying for it.
I mean, obviously, they stick to that. They stick to 2. Whether the doctor recommend or not, none of no one's business. And if you can afford, then you do it. If you can't afford, then that is it. It is bad news.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So for people who just watching or just tuning in, let me explain what we're talking about. Hemodialysis is a life-saving treatment when your kidneys are no longer able to remove waste products and extra water from your body. And so the dialysis machine takes over this function for your kidneys. Dialysis treatment usually done 3 times a week at about 3 to 4 hours each session. Now, what does dialysis do? We know it's a treatment, and it cleans your blood and filters out the waste. Blood is removed from your body and sent to the dialysis machine by way of tubes and through the filter, the artificial kidney, if I can show you. And then the blood goes through, like I said, through this filter where it's cleaned and returned back to you. Now, this happens many times during the treatment. As I talked about in my live, it's a continuous cycle. Am I correct, Brother Moses?
Very correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, keep going. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, that is the artificial heart. What Steve is holding there, we can even refer it as an artificial heart. I mean, an artificial kidney. Yes, because it does exactly what the kidney does, but this is now a man-made replacement therapy, whereby if your kidneys no longer work correctly, then it replaces the work of a kidney.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, if this replaces your kidney, it doesn't clean your blood 100%. It just only takes the place of some of the function. Because our kidneys are a healthy person's kidney is constantly functioning 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay. So basically, if your kidneys are working like that, then that means you need to have treatment that's going to kind of duplicate what the real kidneys are doing. So what does that mean? What that means is the less treatment, the more waste is going to build up. Okay. And over in Kenya, I guess they saw it fit that only 2 treatments a week at 4 hours was good enough. Because over here in the US and maybe over in some other countries, it's 3 times a week. Anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. So, Brother Moses, I'm sure missing the treatment is not an option for you.
It is not. Because
or if you miss that treatment, can you make it up?
Well, you can. In some facilities you can, especially where I am. If you happen to miss it, then you can organize with the administration, and then you can take in. It can be carried forward to the next week, so that you can even have the third one. But then it is not the third session. It is a compensation of the missed treatment. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it has happened to me. At one time, I was held somewhere, and then I was traveling back home. I missed it, but then I made sure that it get compensated. Reason being, because I understand the consequence of not of missing treatment. So what happens? I made sure that it is compensated. Otherwise, if somebody there is Steve, I tell you this program is important, because if somebody listen to us right now, will get to know how important it is, so that they can always claim the missed one, because already you don't have the option of having a third one. So very important to ask to be compensated, because if you missed it and then the two are your rightful share, I can say it is a right, so you must get it.
Okay. So
Yes.
let's move on and talk about what happens when the kidneys are not working, which I'm sure a lot of people who will watch this, who are watching now, that undergo dialysis, they know. But maybe for the caregivers or people tuning in, or maybe one who's watching, that the doctor says dialysis is on the horizon for you. And you may not understand when your kidneys are not functioning, what can happen. So let's talk about that. So one, waste products are created from the digestion of food and normal breakdown of body tissue. So when we eat, whatever you eat, right, the waste is created from that digestion process. And then you got something called uremia, which is the buildup of waste products in the blood when the kidneys are not working right. And see, when you have uremia, that you think about urine, because the two are pretty much synonymous in a sense. Uremia is the buildup of waste. Urine is the waste coming out. So when you have that buildup of waste, when we go to the bathroom and we urinate and you see the waste, that's building up in the blood. And for some people, we used to see this back in the day with some older people that had gray hair around their hairline, and you see yellowish. And that was the urine, that was the waste coming through the pores. So if your kidneys are not working and the waste builds up and you can't urinate and the fluid builds up, dialysis is designed to remove these waste products so one can get back to a close, as they call it, homeostasis, meaning imbalance. That's why they do pre and post lab work. So if you miss a treatment, let me hold on. some people may ask, is skipping a treatment risky? Let's see what kidney.org says about that. They say since dialysis treatment requires a big time commitment, sometimes it can be tempting to want to skip treatments. Maybe it's a stormy day, or you're getting over a cold, or you have an opportunity to head out of town on an impromptu vacation. You may think I'll only miss 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 treatments. What's the big deal? You may be surprised to know that skipping dialysis treatment can be very dangerous. The amount of time you are on a dialysis machine and how often you go for treatment is determined by your healthcare provider to meet your individual needs. Getting the right amount of dialysis ensures that the blood is getting clean well enough for you to stay healthy. So if you miss treatment and you don't make it up, it's not like when you go back the next time, you're going to clean your blood up and everything's going to be back to normal. It doesn't work that way, does it, Brother Moses?
Absolutely. It doesn't work that way. If you miss it, the waste buildup and the fluid continues to overwhelm your blood. So what happens now? Missing it completely and going to your next treatment does not mean that you can really do adequate treatment to compensate for that, because there are also risks associated with longer dialysis. Yes, Brother Steve.
Okay. Now, what does kidney.org says about mistreatment? Okay, it's not just us saying it. This is what the leading kidney organizations here in the United States say. And anyone can find this information. So we know how important getting accurate information out there. So kidney.org says about mistreatment can cause problems. And I want to read the symptoms of uremia. But here's what they say. They say, remember, your kidneys used to clean your blood 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I found this on the web.
Excuse me. When you skip treatments, extra fluid will need to be removed when you go back to dialysis. And this may make your next treatment harder for you. Removing extra fluid can cause cramping. Some people who talk about they cramp, okay? Headaches, low blood pressure, or nausea as the healthcare team tries to get you back dry weight. Then it goes on to say, your kidneys are also responsible for helping to control your blood pressure and for keeping a safe balance of key minerals such as potassium, phosphorus in your body. And missing dialysis treatment places you at risk for building up high levels of these 2 minerals. High phosphorus, which can lead to heart problems, including arrhythmia, heart attack, and death. You got some warriors be like, oh, I feel heart palpitations. And if you want dialysis, better check and see if you had something with potassium in it, or go to the your cardiac doctor and get your heart checked out, because heart disease, well, let me take that back. The heart and the kidneys are synonymous. It's a connection between the two. And then high phosphorus, which can weaken your bones. And we're going to talk about that because, Brother Moses, you had issues with your bones. High phosphorus can weaken your bones over time and increase your risk for heart disease. But, Brother Moses, you recently had issues with calcium and phosphorus. Am I correct?
Yeah, very true, Steve. I've experienced that. And just before I move to that, I just want to echo on what you have just said, because what is important to your kidney is important to your heart. And what is bad for your kidney is bad for your health, for your heart. So these are like twins when it comes to maintaining good health. Now, I've had experience with bone issue, because before then I'd had challenges of not affording a calcium supplement. That number one contributed towards it. And then over those some years back, I didn't know the importance of PTH. So I think those were reasons responsible for maybe my bone issue. But now I'm coping up with it, Brother Steve.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
for sharing
it's a very serious complication. I want to encourage warriors to be very keen on it more than anything else, because you will definitely lose your strength, and even the basic things that you can do yourself will soon be a thing of the past.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about the symptoms of uremia. Because this can, even if you're not on dialysis yet and you're at stage 5, you're watching this and you're at stage 4 kidney disease or stage 5, you may experience these symptoms as well of uremia, not just the kidney warrior who misses treatment, but you as well who is at stage 4 or 5 that haven't started dialysis. So if you're watching this, you may want to pay attention to these symptoms, because if you do have these symptoms and you're not on dialysis yet, then you're pretty much at that point where you may need to start renal replacement therapy. So just another word for dialysis. But here are the symptoms: loss of appetite, nausea, metallic taste in your mouth, change in taste perception, weight loss, feeling tired, mental dullness, high blood pressure, and one common symptom, itching. So, have you experienced any of those symptoms, Brother Moses?
Oh yes, almost all, because the one that I really suffered from was the loss of appetite. But then it's a gone thing, because Brother Steve, I really educate myself a lot.
I know. That's how we met.
Oh, yes. So appetite is a thing of the past to me. Maybe I will not eat because I don't have, but not that there is loss of appetite. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I've experienced almost all of them. In fact, there is another one that I've experienced loss of memory.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So that one I haven't had most of patients talking about, but maybe they do not know that they have experienced it. I believe so.
Right. Right. So let's talk about, is one's blood getting clean? Because this involves the importance of not missing dialysis. Are you getting adequate dialysis? So eventually, if you miss a treatment, now we know situations arise in one's life. They have other things to do outside of dialysis. And here in the United States, as I said, warriors are allowed 3 treatments a week. Medicare pays for it. And so what happens if someone misses a treatment, the facility tries to reschedule, get them to come in on their off day to make up that treatment. And pretty much they want to get their money, but they also want to make sure the patient gets their treatment. But do you have some patients who are different? They say, I still urinate. In fact, I know patients who used to skip treatment and wait almost to the 30th day, because if you miss more than 30 days, the unit can discharge you. Now you got to find somewhere else to go do dialysis. So some patients come on the 28th, 29th day and get their treatment and then wait another 3 weeks to come. And they playing with fire. Because you just never know. We all don't know when we're going to pass on to the next round, whether you got kidney disease or not. But having some type of chronic illness or disease doesn't make it any better. But one important part of this process of dialysis is getting your blood clean. And so they do these tests each month. I'm not sure what they call it in Kenya, but here it's called KT over V. And it's a monthly test that calculates how well the blood is being cleaned. Now you got 3 goals here in the United States for KT over V. If you're doing hemodialysis in the clinic, that goal is 1.2 or higher. If you're doing home hemodialysis, that KT over V goal is 2.0 or higher. And if you're doing peritoneal dialysis, that goal is 1.7 or higher. Now you see how those goals go up in the different treatment options? They put the lowest goal, 1.2, the minimum for outpatient hemodialysis. The majority of people go to outpatient hemodialysis, and they're saying the minimum goal for that is 1.2, your KT over V. Whereas if you're at home dialysis, because you're getting more treatment, the goal is 2.0 or higher. This is not rocket science when you look at this. And some people say, oh, is home dialysis better than outpatient? And I have to say, each option, you have to look at the risk and benefits. But here, if it tells you a goal of 2.0 or higher for home hemo, and you feel better, what is that telling you? Brother Moses, I mean, I know in Kenya it's a different situation, and I'm sure if you were able to do home hemo, you would do it. But from you looking outside in and knowing that the goal for the K2V here, they had 3 outpatient hemo, which you do. The goal is to have a clearance of 1.2 or higher. That's the minimum. Or you go home dialysis, they want you to have 2.0 higher, or peritoneal, which is in your stomach, 1.7 or higher. So that tells you the other 2 options, you're going to have a higher K2V and feel much better if you do those options. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not well conversant the way they calculate it here in Kenya, but then I think the target figures is what I'm not conversant with, but I see it is being calculated. At the end of it, you see some 0 point or 2 point ranges, but I haven't been keen how to really interpret that. Yes.
So basically what this is saying is home hemo and peritoneal, you're going to get a better cleaning because you're doing the treatment more often. You're not coming in outpatient and doing, say, 3.5 hours 3 times a week or 3 hours. And so these numbers just are a measurement. But what I've seen, just my experience, when one does home hemo, not all, because some people can't tolerate it, but I've seen a lot of people feel a lot better and have a better overall quality of life doing home hemo or peritoneal. Not to say they don't have any problems, but just because they're doing more dialysis. And we already established the more treatment, the better you're going to feel, because if you don't, that waste is going to build up. So let's take a quick pause, Brother Moses, and share some education. So we'll return right in a minute with Kidney Hub East Africa with Brother Moses Kennedy and myself, Steve, the kidney nurse, after this PSA.
Hello, I'm Darren. We have breaking news. More than 600,000 Americans have kidney failure. While the number of people with kidney failure is enormous, the number of people with its precursor, chronic kidney disease, is staggering. An estimated 31 million Americans, or about 10% of the US population. Diabetes and hypertension cause 2/3 of all cases of kidney disease. 1 out of every 3 Americans is at risk for kidney disease, and kidney disease is now among the top 10 causes of death in the United States. In addition, 9 out of 10 people with early to moderate kidney disease don't know they have it, putting their health in jeopardy. Are you at risk? For more information, contact urbankidneyalliance.org. The life you save may be yours.
All right, we're back. Myself and Brother Moses Kennedy, the kidney ambassador, live from Nairobi, Kenya. Brother Moses, so let's
Yes.
talk about adequate dialysis or the importance of not missing treatment. What's required to have adequate dialysis so one can feel better, have an appetite, not have waste build up? And so what does that look like? This is how it looks like. Attending all dialysis treatments, staying for your full prescribed treatment time. If you're 3.5, stay 3.5. You're 3:45, 3. If you're 4, stay, because your insurance is paying for it. I mean, why not? Because they sure gonna cut your time if you're late. I don't know if they do that in Kenya, Brother Moses. Like if you're running late, do they run you your whole treatment time? Like say if you miss your ride to dialysis and you get there a half an hour past your scheduled time, do they still run you your full time or they cut that half an hour?
Well, Steve, it will depend. It can be yes or no, simply because the facility can have a vision for the patient. But then now the staff in other facilities could be running to go and watch onto their errands. So this is why I was saying this show is very important, because there is nothing wrong if you demand or know that you must have the exact amount of time prescribed by your doctor. Now, if you are ignorant, you will be taken advantage of. That is the truth of, that is humanity. They are there just to do their work, but there is also chances. Chances are very high. Well, they know the right thing to do. They can do the right thing, but because of human weakness, they can decide to take advantage of you. That is why it's very important to know that if the doctor says it's 4 hours, check on your time and be punctual. Make sure that it is that hour. That is why I'm saying it's either yes or no.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I experienced that when I'm working. I have patients that say they're ready to get off and it's an hour before their time or 45 minutes. And I try to educate them on the importance of staying on and completing the treatment. And I'm gonna be honest, a lot of them don't want to hear it. They tell me to get out their face, or I don't want to hear it. I know. And so I say, okay, let me go get over here. We have something called AMA form. It's against medical advice, and request that they sign it. They don't have to sign it. A lot of patients, you give them the form and they be like, no, I ain't signing, I refuse. And it's like, okay, only thing we do is put patient refuse to sign and put it in their chart and see. And so what happens when patients do that, and then when they try to go get a transplant, that builds a case against them, because they're going to think, well, all these times you sign off dialysis, if you weren't serious about your treatment, how we know you're going to be serious about taking your transplant medicine? So let's move on. So I say attending all dialysis treatments so you know that you're getting an adequate dialysis. Stay in your full treatment time. Rescheduling the treatment if a usual day is missed. Taking good care of your dialysis access. That's very important. I cannot stress that enough, as I talked about the other day. When I don't know how they have it in Kenya, okay, but here in the United States, a lot of these clinics have sinks where you can go when you go in for your treatment and wash your access at the sink with antimicrobial bacteria soap. Because if you don't do that or do it at home before you go to dialysis, you don't do that and you put lotion or whatever moisturizer on your skin, that attracts germs. And so now you got someone about to stick a needle in you, right? They may have just used one alcohol pad and did one strip up and one strip down and not really clean it like it should be cleaned from inner to outer to move the germs away from the access. And that goes with the catheter too. When they cleaning your catheter, they're supposed to start in the center and clean from inner and moving outward, moving the germs away from the wound. But some of them technicians don't do that. They just go up and down, moving the germs back onto the access. And now when you get ready to stick the needle in, you can introduce germs into your bloodstream. Again, it doesn't take rocket science to see this. And that's why I always say, if you get stuck with a needle, make sure that caregiver is putting a 2x2, the gauze pad, folded up and put it over and cover that site, because you don't want that to be exposed and they just put tape over it, because you don't know where the tape been. See, the tape has that adhesive and that track germs. What if they put the tape in their pocket or put it on the counter or on top of the machine? Then they come back and use the same tape and put it over your access. So then a lot of warriors wonder, how do they get an infection? I didn't do this. I don't remember doing anything. A lot of times the infection comes from the healthcare worker not changing gloves or washing hands or practicing infection control practice, good infection control practice. What's your thoughts on that, Brother Moses?
Very true, Brother Steve. When it comes to infection control, that is where most units are failing, because, for example, you realize that a technician is working, is attending to a patient, then even his table is not complete. After putting on the most sterilized surgical glove, he realized that he doesn't have a tape. You know, this tape issue exactly caps it all. He runs, go open the drawer with the sterilized gloves, then come back with the same tape, and then, you know, that tape also, it's being torn into pieces and put on the handle of the table, you know, without sanitizing that handle. And no wonder infections can be a menace in a particular unit, and it's keep on occurring, especially also when people are sharing acetone, the cream for preventing infection. Yes, it really bothers me myself. You get infection and you have taken almost all measures. Where do I complain? I know where to complain if that one happens. Yes.
All right, there we go. I want to thank my friend Stu. She also lives in Nairobi. Moses. Stu Kinsey, she's on here, Kidney Warrior from Nairobi. So thank you for watching as well.
Thank you, Astu, for watching. I can see your comment.
Yes.
He was stressing the point of that infection control we are discussing here. Very good for that. Yeah.
And so let's move on. We got about 10 more minutes. But a part of having adequate dialysis and the importance of not missing treatment, taking good care of your dialysis access. I mean, can't stress that enough. Having access, well, the literature says having access procedure done as quickly as possible, and that's true. Also, I differ when it comes to going to access centers where they say you got to go every 3 months. That's just my opinion. But if you have an issue with your access, it's very important to have the procedure done as quickly as possible, whether it's clotting. And I suggest if you do clot your access, go back to the surgeon who created it, not the access center, but the surgeon. Okay. Also, make sure if you get stuck with a needle, like I showed, like this, they got different sizes, but make sure they are rotating where they put the needle. Don't let them put the needle in the same spot each time, because that could weaken the vessel walls and it can cause you to bleed a lot longer at dialysis, can cause you to get those bumps that you may see. They call it aneurysms. So be very careful when they stick in you. Make sure that they rotate the sites. Also, know what your blood flow rate is. That's the blood pump speed, because each kidney warrior has a different pump speed. You may look over at somebody's machine and see they running on 400, and you look at your machine and you may be running on 300 or 350 and wonder why. So everybody's different. All right. Again, it's so important about not having enough dialysis or that waste and fluid buildup. Because if you don't have enough dialysis, whether you're here in the United States or watching in another country, not enough dialysis can lead to decrease in appetite and energy, feeling sick and tired, fluid overload, shortness of breath, or edema, which is fluid in your ankles and your feet, more frequent hospitalizations, and the most important one, it can lead to a shortened lifespan. So we cannot overemphasize, if you're watching this, the importance of not missing dialysis. Okay. Now, if you have a healthy KT over V, or if your KT over V is 1.2 or better, you should feel better. You should have more energy. You could be more active, enjoy food, and live longer. Because that's the goal, is to make sure you clear enough waste out of your system each treatment. So you could feel good and not always feel tired or weak or drained out, gaining the 1 to 3 liters between treatment and not taking off more than 3. And so as we wrap it up, here's some questions. If you're watching, here's some questions to ask yourself. Do I stay for the entire treatment time? Do I go to all my dialysis treatments? Did I reach my prescribed blood flow rate? Yeah, make sure when you go to dialysis and you look over after they put you on, that they turn your blood pump up. Because some people forget to turn it up all the way because they're rushing. Another question to ask, do I feel well? Have I kept all my doctor's appointments? Do I arrive late or do I leave early? Or do I gain too much fluid in between treatments? These are some questions to ask yourself, or if you're a caregiver, ask your parents or your loved ones. Brother Moses, anything you'd like to say as we close down the show?
Well, Brother
The floor
Steve,
is yours.
I'm just having a copy of that KTLV. I think you are talking about this, right?
Yes.
Are you able to? Yes. So when it comes to the average of kidney function, I think it is, where do we get it?
It may be on the back. Does it say URR KT//V?
No, it doesn't have.
URR?
It continues with the electrolytes only.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure if that's monthly, because we check this on a monthly basis.
Yes.
The number would be 1 point something.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I can't really see the numbers. You would have to take a picture and send it to me through Messenger.
Right. I'll do that exactly.
Because I can't really see the numbers.
Okay.
And the test name.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone who is watching. This is Kidney Hub East Africa. We are here to learn and to educate ourselves. Thank you very much. Keep watching. Same day, same hour, same time, every Sunday. I am your kidney ambassador and a co-host. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Brother Moses. We're having some, at the last minute, the screen is freezing up. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so
yeah,
it's okay. We're going to still, I can still able to, let me see something.
Okay.
There we go. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Oh my God. Here we go again. All right. All right, Brother Moses, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to come on. I know it's, about 9 o'clock there, going on 9 o'clock p.m.?
Yes, 9 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, it's 2 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time in the United States, Washington, D.C. So from Washington, D.C. to Nairobi, Kenya, we'd like to thank everyone for watching Kidney Hub East Africa. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to reach out to Brother Moses Kennedy, the Kidney Ambassador at the FIGO Initiative on Facebook, or you can reach out to myself, Steve the Kidney Nurse, at Steve the Kidney Nurse Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or TikTok. I'm on all platforms. So please don't hesitate if you got any questions or comments. And again, thank you for watching Kidney Hub East Africa. And I'd like to thank Kip Torano for joining. Stu Kinsey, thank you. Virgil Jones, we appreciate your support. Oh, Miss Elizabeth, thank you so much for tuning in and all your support. Anthony, thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Again, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next Sunday for another episode of Kidney Hub East Africa. Brother Moses, again, thank you, and I'll see you soon, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys, take care and have a great day. Peace.
Take care.